The WZ-113 is a Tier 10 Chinese heavy tank. It's available on the tech tree to anybody that wants to grind down this line, and it's a pretty fantastic tank at that. Now, it does have some major downsides, but at first glance, you might think that this is the best Tier 10 in the game. I mean, it's a heavy tank with some pretty decent frontal armor, not to mention its gun has 3,200 DPM. It's got 0.317 dispersion and a 3.5 second aiming time, and if you wanted that DPM to go upwards of 3,440, you just plop on gun rammer. Sure, you might be losing that penetration, but man, 3,440 DPM, that's almost as high as some of the highest DPM mediums in the game. So, incredibly deadly for a Tier 10 heavy tank. The pen is plenty to cut through armor, and as all the average damage at 420 per shot, means that you even out-reload vehicles like an IS-4, but you also out-trade them, or not out-trade, but equally trade if you were in a brawl. So, yeah, pretty sweet there. Unfortunately, it only has 6 degrees of gun depression, but you gotta have some downsides in some places. Now we go over to the mobility. It goes 50 kilometers per hour forward with a reverse speed of 15. And not to mention its power to weight is 18.3. So you think all these things together, and okay, it's fast. It's in fact one of the fastest heavy tanks in a straight line. But that is where you look at the last one, hull traverse rate, and it's 26.73 degrees a second. Now, if we pull out a calculator real quick and we do, let's just do 360 degrees if you're being flanked and divide that by 26.5. We'll just divide that by 26.5, and it would take you 13.5 seconds to fully traverse this vehicle. 13 seconds. That is incredibly long. And you might think, well, it does have a turret, but oh my, look at that turret traverse, 20.65 degrees a second. Let's compare that to, the IS-4, another heavy tank. Its traverse speed is 32 degrees a second, which is substantially faster. Let's look at the turret traverse. Ooh, it is quite slow at 17, but oh yeah, the hull still turns much faster, and this is a full-blown heavy tank that doesn't go 50. So yeah, the 113 does have some big downsides. The other one is the frontal armor. I mean, it's not bad. It's 311 millimeters on flat ground. However, yeah, 335 is not going to get many bounces from Tier 10 heavies, especially if you're face-hugging this thing. I mean, it's very, very easy to penetrate. And if you've got very high penetrating shells from a Tier 10 tank destroyer, or if you're in a VK90.01P, which is a very good use here, this is what a VK90 looks at, because of course it's tall. So yeah, your upper plate's only about 247. In fact, this upper plate is the same thickness as the WZ-112 Glacial, a Tier 8 Chinese heavy. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're using 6 degrees of gun depression, it's auto-ricochets to AP and APCR ammunition. And even if you get a vehicle out that does shoot heat, even running calibrated shells, it is incredibly thick at over 400 millimeters. But that's only fully held down, and once you're on flat ground, this thing is like butter to cut through. It also has some pretty weak turret cheeks, but the edges of the turret are actually very strong. Another thing to remind you about the 113 is the fact that the side armor is not spaced. So this here is all pennable, only 120 thick, and that means even heat cuts right through the side armor if you're trying to angle it, and you accidentally over-angle the sides. So the vehicle's great. I mean, it's got some incredible, monstrous numbers going for it on top speed and as well DPM. But because the armor is nothing incredible for a Tier 10 heavy, and because the tank itself can't turn, it's pretty bad. I mean, I've said this in many videos, probably every video I've ever talked about the 113, and every live stream, but if this thing was like the Titanic and saw an iceberg in it, it would literally be a shot-for-shot remake of the Titanic, and Jack and every single person in the tank would sink, because, well, it is a pretty heavy vehicle. So let's see what we can do here on this battle. You're going to see just how bad the traverse speed is here. We're going to do a full traverse turn here, 90 degrees to turn over towards the side that I'm going to go to, obviously. And you're going to see just how slow this vehicle really is. And by the way, this is medium terrain, which means my traverse is a bit slower. I mean, just look at it. I mean, it's not terrible there, but it's not great. But you'll notice what is great is that acceleration, easily going upwards of 30. Here we go, 35, 36. It's a very, very fast heavy tank. There we go, at 40 kilometers per hour. It's very rare to see a vehicle that has a top speed of 50 like the IS-7 or even the 5A reach its top speed. But this tank, I mean, easily we are going 40, 50 kilometers per hour on flat or even some uneven terrain. So here we go, speed is key. And maybe we can get a shell out into like this STB onto the side. We are so quick, we're easily able to catch that STB out of should I say, off guard and get a pretty nice snap into his vehicle. Now, we do have a tank like the Emil-2 pushing on up, and there's the WZ-121, and this is a better example of that traverse speed. I mean, oh man, is it bad. You can see me here, just, it's a struggle. That's all I'm going to say. Now, we got the Emil-2 off to the side, which we're going to aim in a shell on, so let's do that right now, and there's a nice tap for 415. Because I've got such high DPM, this Emil-2 is literally like just a fruitcake waiting for me to clip, so there's, oh, actually a miss. Kind of unfortunate that I did miss that, but the good news is that this Emil is basically on a reload. He might pen me once, but yeah, now that tank's on a full reload, and I am not, which means we're just going to poke him, and we're going to get a nice tap into his vehicle here. Yeet, and there you go, tracking him. And this Emil-2 is not enjoying life all too much anymore. Let's see if we can get one shell in him, finishing him off. There you go, nice tap. Now we got the 50 TP prototype over here, but again, I mean, you can see just how weak this vehicle's overall armor can be. There's an AMX-50B who max rolled me for the one shell. We're going to back up, and hopefully my team does protect me here just a little bit. Let's try and get one snap into that 50B again. We actually out-traded him, which is quite impressive when you think about it there. But yeah, there's that 50 TP, and again, just cutting straight through my armor. Plus, I didn't even pen him. So that is the armor. I mean, you can very easily see that when exposed, it is incredibly weak, to a point where I wouldn't even really call it armor. It's just weak. That's all it is. So you got to be very, very careful in this tank what you poke and where you drive. Now, the good news is that because it has such a nice gun, I mean, there you go. Nice tap for 503 into that 50 TP prototype. Trying to get a bounce here. Come on, bounce me, and let's get another pen in. There you go. Another nice penetration. And as I said, the turn armor on this tank is very nice. So even though the hull is quite weak, you can actually get some bounces on the turret. Sadly, we were taken out. Our Yo stopped holding the front hill, which meant that, yeah, I kind of got pushed on without even being able to spot that AMX-50B. So let's hope that my team does do an okay job here, although this is probably not going to be a win. Oh, come on, girl. How did you miss that? That's impressive. It's the most accurate take. Oh, well. Either way, this game we did 3,800 damage. So, sure, I may have poked a little aggressive and blown quite a bit of my hit points, but to the fact that we did 3,800 damage in a pretty tricky scenario shows you just where this tank is great and bad. That 50 TP was easily able to poke me, and he basically bled nothing for it, too. I had a Yo, had an M103, but neither of them really... Oh, my God, M103. And say goodbye to the Yo. I mean, the tank did its job, and I can't complain. All we got left is this grill who's just chilling over here, so let's watch him reach his demise. Did he pen like he did? Just, unfortunately, he didn't help out when it was most needed. So here we go, defeat. I will take a bit of the blame, though. I pushed aggressive, kind of hoped that I'd have a little bit of support from the infantry behind, and it seems that, no, the enemy was just able to poke me. So there you have it. Not a fantastic... Well, I shouldn't have hoped for help. One very easy selling point of the WZ-113 that you could see in that battle, though, is how quickly it does pick up damage. Sure, the armor might not be the best, and you can quite easily penetrate it most of the time, but when you're able to almost out-trade an AMX-50B that is literally clipping you and easily get shells into that 50 TP prototype, I mean, we took about 1,000 hit points off of him, and he took, I think, 1,000 back into us, but we did that damage in 2 successive shots. It is very impressive how quickly this tank can rack out those damage numbers. And when you're in a heavy against this tank, you don't really think that it's going to bleed you until it really starts to hurt. Now, with the 6 degrees of gun depression, it is just enough to work Mines Hill, which is perfect because using my 6 degrees to the fullest extent, as I showed, means the upper plate is very strong. And the turret, as it is based off of a Russian turret, is also incredibly strong. So here we go, using that pretty solid mobility. I mean, we're even going uphill here at 40 kilometers per hour, and we are in position. Now, there's that just awful traverse speed, though. Let's aim it on the E3. Can't get a snap into him just yet, but, well, we'll find out just exactly what happens very, very shortly. There's that E3 just sitting there. We got the Progetto, and yeet, nice tap into his lower plate. Big low roll, though. 340, or 380 was that shot there, and our average damage was, like, what, 440? So, yeah, pretty big low roll. 420, sorry, I'm losing my mind. Either way, we got a pretty nice shot into the T110 E3 already, which is pretty solid. And let's see if we can continue to get more shots out here. Can we get a snap into the E3? Ooh. No, you butt. Oh, come on, back up. Please. We can't get a snap in just yet, but I guess that kind of sucks. Anyway, we got that grill off to the side, and there's that E3. I'm still trying to get a teeny bit of a snap into the vehicle himself, but he's just pretty much stuck there. I mean, there's not much he can do. We do have that Sheridan, though, however, behind me, and with that, I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get a shot in. There you go, nice tap into the Sheridan, and, well, he got me back, but, I mean, the Sheridan is definitely not enjoying his life all too much anymore. There's a second shot into that tank, but now I've got to worry probably about that T110E3, or, even better yet, the enemy's Super Conqueror pushing very aggressively up. Trying to angle this tank, maybe get a bounce, and there you go, he missed me, which is perfect. Although, the enemy Sheridan did get another tap into my tank. So, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to back my booty on up, and we're going to see if I can get a tap into the Sheridan. Well, actually, he died. Perfect. I can't believe the enemy let... What did that TVP go? I mean, I really thought that TVP was going to support me, but it seems that, no, apparently I'm not going to get any support. Wow, nice shot from that E3, actually. Very surprised that penned me. We're trying our best, though. I have lost quite a bit of health, as we talked about before. This tank's armor really doesn't go very far, and because... Oh, what the heck? Wow, that sucks. But, yeah, as I was trying to say, the armor on this vehicle does not get very far. So because of that, this gun is trying to irritate me. Because of that, you will have some very big circumstances where the gun itself kind of lets you down. Let's back up here, try not to get hit by the Super Conqueror, and let's reload. Reloading, and alright, we're all good. So even though this game was a little bit sketchy to begin with, I mean, sadly, that Sheridan did kind of just, ooh, wow, nice shot from that guy. And is the E3 dead yet? Yes, he is. Perfect. But we are a one-shot, and with that, I gotta be pretty careful. I mean, I don't want to be a one-shot and get hit by that Super Conqueror. So we got our T110E4 pushing on up here. We got the TVP up top, and what am I gonna do? Well, not that, because I've realized that's a terrible idea, and our team is definitely gonna win this, but I'm gonna push off to the side, hoping that the Super Conqueror does not shoot me. Let's keep going. Just keep swimming. Just keep swimming. Go, go, go. Alright, perfect. And now we should be able to do some pretty nasty things to vehicles like the enemy 268 or even the Progetto. So let's just try that now. Yeet! There you go. Nice tap into him. And I'm going to stop him from backing up, let my teammate kill him, and there you go. Pretty solid game. So this showcased, again, the greatness, but yet not so greatness about the WZ-113. Normal heavies would have been able to turn around pretty quickly and snap that Sheridan once he tapped me in the rear. Yeah, this tank, you saw just how much effort it took me to turn it around, look at the Sheridan, and then turn back. So that is a big downside, but, I mean, at the same time, I was easily able to rip into a vehicle like the Progetto, or the Sheridan, or even the Super Conqueror for 1200. And even though we got a really weird bounce on that Grill 15, you can easily see how this tank is great, but yet really struggles. I think, personally, the WZ-113 should get a DPM nerf by about 200 or 300, maybe bring it down to 3000 base, kind of like the Chieftain Mark 6, but then they give the vehicle maybe about a 20 or 30% traverse speed buff, making it much more enjoyable to play. Let me know what you guys think about this tank in the comments down below, but I thought I'd just make something on it because it's a pretty interesting vehicle, it's unique, and there's really nothing like it in Tier 10. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye!